You were, of course, the manager for DEF for many, many years.
Yes.
But if I'm not mistaken, you actually started your managing career with Motley Crue, right?
Yes, when I was a young boy. I was 7 years old when I was managing them. And then I went on to the Beatles
Oh, cool.
when I was 22. No. Yes, I was young, 20 years old then. And from one thing led to another, and I ended up working in more extreme metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Chuck in 1987 at Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Mm-hmm.
And about 6 months later, I was managing
Mm-hmm.
Death.
Mm-hmm. So that was actually right after the first record, right?
Yeah, I met him about a month or so after Scream Bloody Gore came out,
Mm-hmm.
and he already had a new lineup, which was the Leprosy lineup. And then I met them again when they came through Milwaukee. I promoted their next show
Mm-hmm.
when they came through in January or February of 1988, and that's when Chuck asked me if I would start managing him. And I thought, I don't know. Okay.
You didn't have to think long, right?
I didn't have to really think very long about it, because we got along right away. It was like we were similar age at a time when we were in our 20s, and we were very similar in the way we were thinking and the way we wore leather jackets. So it made sense that we worked together.
But yeah, Dev already had kind of a cult status even after the release of the first record.
In a way, but it was very difficult to feel it. You know, like now you have the internet, you go on the net, and there's this big following.
Yeah.
At that time, it was still very strange because all of the writers in metal thought that it was a joke. It even said on the first record that it was a joke. And when I saw them live that first time at Metal Fest 1 in July of '87, all the writers were kind of laughing, well, you got to see this. And it wasn't like it's so great you have to see it. It was, you have to see it to believe it. Because this guy's vocals are out of this world. They are beyond anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't someone who was sitting around at that time and listening to underground metal. I was listening to mainstream metal. So for me, Trouble, Nuclear Assault, these were heavy.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, that was someone going, vomiting after drinking. So I was shocked when I saw that for the first time. I just, wow, that is heavy. And then backstage, I remember there was lots of people gathered round Chuck, like he was Jesus. It was something like that. It was, he had charisma. And I was immediately attracted to that as a promoter, as a manager kind of thing. I thought, wow, this is interesting.
So
But it wasn't like it was a cult for me at that point.
Yeah. So you kind of immediately saw that Dev had really bright
There was
future.
potential.
Yeah.
The new material, the Leprosy material, I saw a big potential.
Because you were actually there from, I don't know, when Dev started to evolve from a straightforward death metal to a progressive metal.
Yeah, of course. It's still hard for me to believe. Now I'm looking back, like looking at a calendar. Oh, this is what we did in '91. This is what we did in '89. It's still hard for me to believe how a man as chaotic as Chuck in his personal life could be so forward thinking, so progressive, evolving at such a rate. Like, how did that happen? I didn't see it at the time. Like, I didn't know it was happening until he said, "Fire Rick." Get Rick out of the band. What?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So you had to do the dirty stuff.
Yeah, of course. I had to phone him up. "Rick, you're out of the band." "Why?" "Well, he doesn't like your mustache." "The spandex is too shiny that you're wearing." I'm the one who had to phone, and Rick was a gentleman about it. He just said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. But he went off to do his stuff, right?
He went off to do his stuff. Eventually, Massacre got back together, and now it's
back
funny.
together.
I'm their lawyer.
Oh, really?
I represent Massacre.
Awesome.
And all of the old wounds when we were kids, it doesn't matter anymore. We're all friends, all of us. Everyone who was ever in death, good,
it's a
bad,
family,
people
right?
who were fired, people who disappeared and then
You
came
were
back.
actually fired too, right? Several times.
I was fired twice and lived to tell the tale.
You and Chuck actually had kind of a love-hate relationship, right? On and off.
Chuck's sister, Beth Ann, who's like my sister, she said it was like brothers. And I feel like that. It's like brothers hate each other and fight one minute and then care about each other.
Yeah.
He had a very bad temper, but his temper only came out in rare circumstances and usually over nothing. And then you went from being my brother to being my enemy,
Yeah.
like in
a
one second.
Yeah.
But we learned our lesson because the last lawsuit was very expensive. It was expensive for me, but it was even more expensive for him. And we settled for $10 each. Like the court said, you pay him 10, you
Yeah.
pay him 10, and you better be friends now again. So
Was that the start of your legal career, or
well, it was the start of my legal career in the sense that I spent a fair amount of time in court. You know, I was involved in lawsuits. I sued Motley Crue in 1984 in LA Superior Court, and that dragged on for years. So I learned about the legal process suing Motley Crue and of course Motley Crue's label Elektra, the new management. You know, there was a whole bunch of people, and I learned all about suing
yeah,
and the legal reality of the American entertainment industry. And then my lawsuits with Chuck. And in the first one, I sued him. In the second one, he sued me first, but I was hiding out so that they wouldn't get me with the papers, so that I would have the time to countersue. So I learned all the tricks, and I was fascinated by it. It's what made me interested to say, you know, I think I want to go to law school.
yeah.
That's true.
Okay, so now let's forward kind of to the now. How did you come to this Death to All project? I think it started a few years back with Sick Drummer, right? If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
Death to All was created by Sick Drummer magazine. They had an idea because they were working with some of the former drummers of Death, including Gene Hoglan and Sean Reiner. And I said I would be willing to take a call from one of them. So one of them, named Anton, called me and we started talking about it. And at first I was skeptical. I thought, the public will never go for this. This isn't wrong. Then I talked it over with my partners, that is Chuck's family, and realized that if it was done the right way, it could be really cool. So I started a long period of working it out with Sick Drummer guys who proved to be useless, idiotic, bad businessmen, dicks, shitheads, fuckwads, Dorcases, smelly. I'm missing one thing. Assholes. No, look, they were. They had a good idea, but they had no clue what they were doing. And I made this known to them early, like by March, and the tour was in June of 2012. I said, "How can you do this? 2 buses." What they wanted to pay the artists made no sense. It was, they announced to the press that 1 in 5 or 20% of the ticket sales was going to a charity that we chose. It was the charity we support. I said, how the hell can you do that? How can you announce what percentage of the ticket is going when you don't even know if you're going to make enough money to pay all the bills? Oh, we have it all covered, Eric. We have it all taken care of. Well, what if the sky falls down and no one shows up at the shows and it's a disaster? What in the flying frigging fuck are you going to do then? Oh, we have it all figured out. I even at one point offered to be their partner. That is to bring money to the table. No, we got it all covered. Okay. So at one point they thought they would be sneaky and get rid of me, and which meant get rid of Death, not use the Death logo, perform the songs without clearance. I just phoned my lawyer friend, and just he sent one letter, boom, and I was suddenly back in. And that was just a couple of days before the tour. So there was a lot of tension when I showed up.
Yeah.
And one of the partners of Sick Drummer, he never even showed up at all. I've still never met him. He was too scared to face me for a hockey match to the death. I don't know what the hell they thought. I thought it was wrong for them to sit in a room, for Anton to sit in a room in Orlando, Florida, and to write everybody a check when it was all over, knowing that they would bounce, that they were worthless. No money. No money to pay Perseverance Holdings, no money to pay the charity to which everyone thought that their ticket, part of it was going towards a charity, no money to pay him.
The artist, the most part of it.
Yeah, anybody, Gene Hoglan, and to just walk. Oh, sorry. I never got an apology even. So, but after the dust settled, we started to talk among ourselves. So, some of us were talking about lawsuits, suing those two bastards, and but then, we thought it's not worth it. What does Anton have? Nothing. He's just selling pot or whatever the hell he does for a living, and the other guy's painting houses and running an electronic magazine. I mean, I couldn't care less. I don't want to take their house from them. I simply don't give a fuck. And the guy said, be easy on them. They're nice guys, and besides, they thought of the idea of Death to All. And if it wasn't for them, none of this would be happening. So we decided that we were going to do it ourselves. And so we organized it for last April. So we went out, and I decided I didn't want this crazy circus with 25 ex-members of Death. I wanted to have it down, because everybody wanted to be a part of it, even people that weren't even in Death. Even John Hand, the guy whose picture is on, everybody with even a loose associate. Oh, I was once Chuck Schuldiner's mailman. I'd like to be the drummer. And I'm like, look, I can't have 50 people. So I want to have one little lineup, a touring lineup. There were 4 guys in Death, I want 4 guys out there. So other than Neurotic Death Fest, which I organized to be, a different lineup, I got 4 guys, and we went on the road, and it was great, except I broke my wrist in one place, and I broke my leg in another. Fell off the stage one place and fell off the sidewalk. But it was great. It was awesome, and I thought that would be it. And then there was offers from Europe. Please come to Europe. So we came to Europe in November, and that was awesome. And then there were offers to come to Europe here for festivals. So it's going to keep going. Now we have Gene that's going to come in it.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
And we're going to do like a symbolic 20th anniversary with Bobby Coble, and so as long as people want to see this and they love the music of Death and they want to see it performed live in this way, then we will keep DTA going. That's my plan. As soon as people it's boring, then we'll stop it. It's I think a great opportunity to play this music in front of live audience.
It honors the memory of Chuck, of course. There is no death. This isn't Death. We use the Death logo because we want people to get the feeling that they're seeing the real thing. But we know that it's not the real thing without Chuck. It's the people that worked with him, me, we're the people around that are doing this tribute, and that's what it is, a tribute. Awesome. Okay, I just have a few more questions.
Sure.
What would you say if you had to choose one album, which is your favorite Death album? Spiritual healing, easily.
Why?
Because I co-produced it.
All right.
No, it's the one I like it the best because for me it's a transition.
Mm-hmm.
The songs were getting longer. The lyrics were no longer about gore, but were about real
Yeah,
issues.
yeah.
But yet it was still brutal. Chuck was still singing very low. I like Bill and Terry. Not necessarily. I'm a fan of the two first records. I love Human and the rest of them.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick one, it would be Spiritual Healing because it's in the middle. I was watching Chuck grow as a musician and as a writer in a crazy way at a time when his personal life was really in all directions.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to believe that he could progress from leprosy to spiritual healing in the way he did. And of course from spiritual healing to human. It's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
holy cow. That's crazy. But yeah, that would be the record. And I love all the songs.
Yeah, awesome. Another thing that's been kind of talked about for a really long time is
Control Denied's
second-
finally, yeah, there you go. Chuck finished the record. Richard Christie finished the record. But that's it. So what you have is a map that Chuck made of all the things he wanted in there, the lyrics and the melodies. But he was a sick man and he didn't survive.
Yeah.
There was legal issues. I cleared those legal issues up myself because I'm a brutal lawyer in 2009.
Yeah.
But now you're dealing with humans. So you're dealing with people who have their own issues, their own health problems, their own circumstance. I can't force them to finish it. I can't finish it myself. So I've just tried to assist as best I can. Richard has finished his parts, but he has tried to assist. He's in New York City. He's a very busy guy. Shannon Ham is a busy guy, has a family. He's had health problems. It's up to him to finish it.
Yeah.
I've given him as much encouragement. I've told him all the money is there that you need, but I have to leave it up to him. Tim and Steve, they can't finish their parts until Shannon is done.
yeah.
Without Shannon, there is no album. All the pressure is on Shannon. That makes him probably a little
Yeah.
concerned.
This is probably one of the most expected albums.
Yes, in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even, yeah, I want it to finish.
So, yeah.
It sounds great. It's not an album yet. Not until all this other stuff is put on top of it. And they're all ready. A little scared, but
Yeah.
they're ready.